Thanks for sitting down with me, Angelika. Let's just start with a simple one. Who are you? Where you went to school, born and raised, that kind of stuff. How long you've been with StudentWorks, and where are you currently?
My name is Angelika. I was a student at University of Manitoba. I studied economics there, and I started StudentWorks actually in my first year of university back in 2017. I'm originally born in Poland, and I was raised about halfway through up to the age of 13, I guess, in Poland. I continued getting raised, I guess, by my parents here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. I have been a franchisee with the company for 4 years. I started off again my first year of university, and I did that continuously till about my third year. In my fourth year, I actually became a mini district manager. So what ultimately is, it's working with 6 to 10 university students, coaching them how to run their business while running your own business as well. So I did that for about a year. And that went pretty well. Had a lot of returning students. Everyone seemed to do quite well and had a massive growth overall in the province from previous years. And then I became a full-time district manager actually for this year. So this past year, I worked with 16 business owners, both in Manitoba and in Saskatchewan. And so far, I've been loving doing that. I really enjoy working with young entrepreneurs from various areas of their lives and various areas of studies. I have people working anywhere from pre-med to pre-law to things like myself, economics and engineers, and lots of people from different areas where they do see, of course, still value in doing this just because it gets them that extra nudge or a step forward to do extremely better, much better in regards to life in the future, especially when it comes to managing people and themselves.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. And I guess my next one then is, why are you a business coach, and what keeps you around with StudentWorks for so long?
I always actually, it's funny that you say that. Since my first year of the company, I've always seen myself in a business coach position. I really enjoy not working for other people, but helping other people achieve their goals. It's super encouraging to continue doing this, actually, just because you see that tremendous growth. I had a business owner this past year who in her first week was super shy, could never get anything in on time. It's funny enough, I always gave her own deadlines, which were about 2 weeks before everyone else, and then she would actually still get it to me barely on time when everyone else had their deadlines. So we went from seeing someone like this to being someone who went and achieved getting into vet school and achieving her goals, getting a lot more organized and managing her time a lot better, and just seeing that tremendous growth in such a short period of time is amazing. I also just generally love working with people who I work with. I have built so many friendships and relationships with people who I do work with. My best friend was a franchisee of mine last year, and we became really good friends last year, and we just continued on that relationship through the next years. I made honestly some of my best friends through StudentWorks, so that's really what keeps me around in regards to no matter whether I'm a franchisee or a business coach. But in regards to business coaching, I like seeing people grow and achieve their goals, and I find like StudentWorks is a big I guess it's, if you go through the airports, they have those fast track kind of lanes where you walk a lot faster than everyone else walking on the regular floor. And I find kind of that's what StudentWorks is. It's walking a lot faster, giving you that boost that you not necessarily would always have, just because you're getting that help from everyone around you in that big community. As well as, it's a great position. I don't think I know another 24-year-old who is, went to school with myself, who's currently in the same position as I am. I went and I purchased my own vehicle, brand new vehicle, which originally was not the plan, but it was actually just worked out very well based on pricing. I'm in a position where I can go and purchase a vehicle. I'm in a position where I can purchase a home. I not necessarily am looking to buy one this year, but looking to buy one in the next 2 years. But I'm currently renting a very nice apartment actually in a very sought after area in Winnipeg. It's like a 2-bedroom. I can afford all of it on my own. On top of that, I still have thousands and thousands of not hundreds, but thousands of dollars in savings that most people, my age don't. Most people in my age actually are, 20, 30, 45, $50,000 in debt. That's what I just have in my savings. Let's not even talk about the money that I'm still going to be able to earn and continue earning in the future, because I have put myself in a better position by starting my financial goals, a lot earlier, which was, something that really much I learned through StudentWorks. I actually walked into StudentWorks with a lot of debt. I didn't have student loans, but I did have some credit card issues and credit card debt and a lot of other debt. And by continuing to do StudentWorks and just through the support that I've got from yourself, Jordan, and Corey Bertram, I was able to go and get that financial advice as well from people who are significantly older and who have that better experience, have gone through similar experiences as well, and they can kind of walk you through on what they did and how that worked out for them. And so I'm able to go and make those decisions based on people who have done it and see how it worked out for them in a good run, in a
Awesome.
good way.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, no, it's there is a lot to get out of this, which is fantastic. And you've obviously gotten a lot out of it. And that's kind of what keeps you here, I suppose.
Yeah.
So you kind of mentioned earlier, but so again, recap, how many operators did you work with this year, and what was their kind of total revenue that they brought in together as a team?
So this year I worked with 16 business owners. Again, across Manitoba, I had about 14, and then 4 in northern Saskatchewan in Saskatoon area. And we together actually have gone and generated $2.1 million in sales.
Awesome. Yeah, congrats. It's been saying that to a lot of people. It's hard to crack that $2 million threshold, but it seems like almost pretty much everyone has. So that's great. You work with students regularly. So what common challenges do you see that these students are facing while they're going to school, as well as while they're kind of taking on the challenge of running a business at the same time?
You know what? The most frequent one would either be time management or organization. I find majority of my students that I've worked with perceived to have pretty good organization skills until something happens last minute, and that's everything falls apart. So it's thinking on their feet, that's for sure, but just having that level of organization, time management, where if something were to happen, you don't fall apart. The plan doesn't just stop and end. You have to go and build a new one. It's just building a good plan for yourself that you ultimately account for if something were to happen. So that's one. Time management, not gonna lie, a lot of people I find struggle. They struggled either putting their business or their schooling first. They struggled getting that balance. And the reason for that is because at the beginning of the year, what we do is we set up everyone with a calendar where we put in all of their school schedule in there and when they're going to study and when their assignments are in, all the deadlines. And we tell them this is your priority, and then we'll fit StudentWorks and everything else around that schedule. But I find a lot of people just get a little bit, ultimately, like I said, struggle with balance. So they don't follow that schedule. They go and they maybe spend a little bit too long watching Netflix on one night, and then they fall behind on having to go and do some schoolwork or some regular work. And then, typically something else will take a beating, or having to go and having, wanting to go and spend time with friends, and then you go and spend time with friends, but then you maybe take a full 3 days to go and hang out with friends, but you didn't do any of your assignments. So now you're going to go and cut into your business time to go and make up for that schoolwork, which again is fine, but what did you give up for, right? So what did you end up, what are your priorities? If hanging out with friends is your number one priority, or school is your number one priority, StudentWorks is a great opportunity. But then, you got to reflect on how much time you're putting in and what you wanted to get out of it. And that's something that I found a lot of people struggled. Some people went and wanted to go achieve really high goals without being able to put in that time commitment, or without wanting to put in that time commitment. So that was one really big one. Another one is definitely organization. The struggle of organization typically comes with placing things in the right place. I feel like sometimes I've gone and going over with people being like, hey, just if you do X, Y, and Z. So if you have your receipt from your let's say your lunch, your business lunch with myself, and you need to go and claim that into taxes, you should have a file folder and put that into food section. So by the end of the year, or at the end of the month, you can even continue on, and at the end of the month, you can go and pull it out and put in an Excel sheet, or do as much as you possibly can at the end of the year to just go and organize that and again put that in an Excel sheet so you can have it a lot easier. But what I typically found is that in the compartment of their vehicle, there was stuffed business expenses that were, like lunches and ladder receipts and a lot of random receipts that I, ultimately is going to go and cost them money, because ultimately if they lose a lot of receipts and stuff like that, they're not able to go and make that money, get that return in GST, which ultimately makes me a little bit disappointed, just because I want to make sure that they do as well as they possibly can, get as much money out of this as possibly can. And that's kind of the biggest thing that I find people most struggled with, is just staying organized and staying on their time commitments. So they're kind of, I feel, go hand in hand, but that's the one I saw most across the board.
Awesome. And then finally, what do you wish you knew when you finished high school that you know now?
When I finished high school, and I wish I know now, don't get into credit card debt. That one's hard to get rid of. But in reality, I actually didn't know what I was gonna do in university. And something I really wish I knew is that you don't need to know. You don't need to know going into university on what you're wanting to go and get out of it. The biggest thing is to go and try to experience as much as you possibly can. When I finished high school, I knew I wanted to go and own a business. So I went into business school. But then I didn't like business school. So I just switched to economics. I found the course load to be a lot easier, and I was like, I'll just figure things out. And it happened. But biggest things I said to myself is take as many opportunities as you possibly can. So in my first semester of university, I've gone and signed a clipboard saying, do you want to run do you want to be a part of a summer management program, which of course was StudentWorks? And I said, oh, heck yeah. Sign me up. I think it was one of the few people in that class who actually read the clipboard before signing it, which happens all the time. But I knew I wanted to take as many opportunities as I possibly can. I want to join a sorority to make friends as well, because I find it super difficult to go and make friends in university, and just building that network. A lot of people and my friends included, I know, go into university and they go into class and they walk out of class and they go and sit on their own. They go to another class and they go home. You're not going to go and accomplish your goals that way. The reason why I say that is just because university, the best thing you can get out of university is building your network. You can go and meet so many future doctors, future lawyers, future dentists, future business owners. People who are going to be able to support you no matter what. And I find the most valuable relationships you build actually are in university. And that's something that I really wish I knew going forward, is that, and I actually want to share other people to think about it as well, is that university isn't there for you to learn, but it's there to network. You want to make sure you get as much out of it as possible. So don't go sitting in the corner, go and make friends.
Awesome. Yeah, no, thank you. I can relate to that. I wish that I would have spent more of my time really trying to network. I was very shy. StudentWorks definitely helped me get out of my shell. And I met obviously so many fantastic people at StudentWorks, and that's partially, what keeps me around. But I definitely could have made a better use of my time while I was on campus for the, 5 years that I was there at school. Definitely just meeting people, because the few that I did meet were wicked and great people, but I definitely, that number could have been a lot higher. And there's some fantastic people that go to university, and definitely missed the mark on that, but that's okay. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing all that.